According to a couple sources, James Harden actually plans to test free agency. What does that exactly mean for the Nets and the rest of the NBA? Apparently, James Harden feels like he has the weight of the fucking world just bearing down on him. You know, having two Hall of Fame teammates is never enough, so he kind of wants out of the situation because he feels as if, though, his situation right now on the Brooklyn Nets is similar to the one he was experiencing in Houston, which, newsflash, James, not even fucking close. And he doesn't really like the Kyrie Irving situation with in regards to he can only play on, road trips and shit, can't really play at home, which that's not really going to affect the situation. It will when it comes to playoffs, but even then, I don't know if they're going to be the first seed then. It might be a little bit more opportune to kind of be tank a little bit for the second half of the season, so Kyrie Irving can really play in like the crucial games, having game 7 and 5 and, the 1 and 2. But, yeah. But the real question that I want to ask in this video is, why the fuck is James Harden unhappy? It's almost like he has two, top 75 players of all time on his team, 3 including himself. And the thing is, on paper, this is probably one of the 5 of the best teams that's ever been assembled. And if they're all playing every game in the playoffs, even though I know they won't be because Kyrie Irving, you don't really know, like as I was just fucking talking about a minute ago. And then also Kevin Durant just got injured a little bit. It's like 2 to 4 weeks or something with a knee thing. I know he's not playing in the game against the Lakers tonight, but Anthony Davis is. And the thing is, if they're all playing, they're gonna run through the playoffs. Like it could legitimately be like maybe only 2 losses, and odds are those will come against like the Milwaukee Bucks or probably a fluke loss against like the Knicks or some bullshit if they make the playoffs. My working theory as to why he's just so unhappy is because he's not really playing to the level that he has been in Houston for the past couple of years. And in terms of points per game, this is his lowest average he's had since he was in Oklahoma. And that's not really a great look because I think he's averaging around 18 to 20 right now. I'm pretty sure it's like 18.8, so damn near 19. But with Kevin Durant going out, I'm pretty sure it's going to like skyrocket to, I want to say like 24, 25-ish, because he's going to be out for most likely a month. And, the more time Kevin Durant can just rest his body, probably the better from the Nets' perspective. And he just kind of, I bet James Harden just wants to get another opportunity to score 30 plus a game and be the darling of another city, just so he could force his way out into another super team. Alright, so first let's go over James Harden's contract to see like just how feasible it is for him to actually try and get another max, or if he's going to have to take a little bit of a reduction to get to a spot where he'd actually win. The thing is, he's making $44 million just this year, and his player option is $47 for next year, but with this news coming out this morning, I doubt that he's going to fucking take that $47 unless some serious changes were made in the Nets organization, but I don't really see that happening. So let's go over a couple teams where I think first off, these first 3 teams, they just have enough money. It's not really about fit. And then the next 4 teams, they need to make a couple moves to actually clear the cap, but let's just get into the first 3 teams that don't really need to make any moves. The first team that doesn't really need to make any moves is the New York Knicks. And I know if you're a New York basketball fan, this probably doesn't really intrigue you all that much, just hopping over on the fucking subway. I've never been in New York on a subway. I don't know. To Madison Square Garden to play there instead of the Barclays Center. I kind of like this fit, and he would definitely be kind of the king of New York basketball if he went to the Knicks. But then he would just get scrutinized heavily just because the Knicks would actually have a shot at, a second-round exit yet again. And the next team, I don't really see this happening because, they're not really a flashy team, and I don't really know if he wants to go back to Texas. Well, these next 2 teams are both in Texas, but first one is the San Antonio Spurs. They just strictly from a monetary standpoint, they have enough money to sign him. They have like I think almost 56 million ish left on cut cap, and if Dejounte Murray doesn't get a fucking monster deal like this offseason or at the end of this season, then that's probably a fine place for him to go. It wouldn't be the best fit. I don't really want to see him go to the Spurs, but they just have the money. And then the last team that these guys would actually have to clear just a little bit of cap if he wants to keep at this $44 million mark. But the Dallas Mavericks actually have like a solid, I think $30 to $35 million just left over. I don't really know how great of a fit this would be again because they already have Luka and Porzingis. He'd probably be on his way out if James Harden is coming in, but like that would be kind of a scary team if it was Luka and James Harden. I mean, they would probably fight over the ball a lot though, and you're gonna get another situation kind of like in Brooklyn where it's like, like two dominant ball handlers. Will it work? It usually fucking does. And as I said before, these next four teams do need to clear a little bit of cap space. And by little, I mean hundreds of fucking millions of dollars. First team, Philadelphia. First off, I already made a video basically just kind of going over my thoughts on the whole Joel Embiid needs a second star thing that's not Ben Simmons. It's a couple videos ago. It has Embiid and Kobe in the thumbnail because, who's going to be the Kobe is Shaq's Embiid. But you know what I'm saying. But, like, Philadelphia is probably my most ideal spot other than the Knicks for him. And then just because they just need a guy who could score and take the double teams off of Joel Embiid and he could actually play make, which the Sixers kind of fucking need without Ben Simmons on the floor. Next team, I don't really know how I feel about this, but as a Lakers fan, I would enjoy it if we got rid of Russ Westbrook and kind of somehow worked out a deal to get James Harden. It would definitely, the Nets would not take that straight up. Russ Westbrook would have to be probably pawned off to a different team because I looked at the salaries, he's actually making the third most in the NBA, and he's not really playing like it because, it's Russ Westbrook. Don't get me wrong, like him as a player, a couple years ago, but this year. But, I feel James Harden would be a lot better a fit with LeBron and AD than Russell Westbrook is, even though you'd have to be a fucking madman to make a trade like that. But, hey, you never know through free agency, the power of LA. This also kind of works for the Clippers. That would be a little bit of an interesting, like threesome. Like Kawhi Leonard, even though he is coming off of that, I think it was an Achilles or an ACL, something in his lower leg. And then Paul George, news just came out this morning saying that he's going to need he can get season-ending elbow surgery, which sucks for Paul George because I like him as a player, but that'd be an interesting pairing between those three. So either of the LA teams really works. And then these last two teams, kind of long shots, but it'll work. Chicago, the only thing, they can't really re-sign Zach LaVine. If they do, James Harden. But personally, who would I rather have? A 26-ish-year-old Zach LaVine or a 33, 34-year-old James Harden? I'd rather have Zach LaVine as of right now, based on just this season, not going off the past. But I do like James Harden in that situation. Him and DeMar DeRozan, the Chicago Bulls would actually be able to make up for the lack of James Harden's defense, with the bald eagle and all that shit. And then the final team is the Portland Trail Blazers. They would obviously have to get rid of the CJ McCollum and a couple other pieces, but this is definitely one of the it's not like the Spurs level of not gonna fucking happen. I just think it would just be kind of a fun pairing, Dame and James Harden. That would just be explosive, basically another version of the Splash Brothers, but just a little bit more north. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of where you think James Harden might be going in the free agency, and yeah. I guess I'll see you guys later. I'll probably be making a video tomorrow. going a little bit more in depth probably on the Paul George injury and what it actually means for the Clippers. But then again, I don't really like the fucking Clippers, so I might not make that video. If you made it to this far in this video, I love you. And smack that like button, fucking subscribe. And then, yeah, catch you later.